dropped. In focus now, Republican Senator John Cornyn of the great state of Texas, member of the Senate Judiciary and Intelligence Committees. So what are they telling us here? Have illegal aliens suddenly the right to vote and do all these other things and their constituents now?
Well, the world has turned on its head. Democrats are in complete disarray. They don't have a consistent message. They certainly don't appear to care about innocent victims like Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nunn Gray, and others who've been victimized by criminal aliens. There are more than 200,000 criminal aliens under final orders of deportation that are still in the country. And of course, the Biden administration allowed them to do so. So Tom Homan and the good men and women at ICE are doing the work that they should do, and we should be supporting them. And these legislators, in all likelihood, voted for the very laws that ICE is now enforcing. So it's hard to get your head around.
Look, former Biden advisor Neera Tanden wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal entitled How Democrats Can Win on Immigration. Our proposal would secure the border and end the misuses of asylum and admit more legal immigrants. Democrat strategist James Carville said this. It's pretty blunt.
The big, beautiful bill, cutting veterans benefits, closing rural hospitals, raising $3.4 trillion on the national debt. I mean, when you have something simple in a gift like this to contrast yourself, you would be stupid to talk about immigration or talk about bathrooms or track meets or anything else.
Your reaction?
Well, Democrats have zero credibility on the border. For 4 years, the Biden-Harris administration had open border policies. It created not only what we're seeing now, but I think, unfortunately, the price is going to be paid for literally years to come, maybe decades to come. 500,000 unaccompanied children placed with unvetted sponsors. And now to come out and say, well, we've got a great plan to solve the immigration conundrum is just not credible. And we saw that President Trump did not need any new laws to do what he has done to bring secure borders. So I just think this is a vain and desperate effort to try to change the topic.
Well, Texas Republicans are pushing ahead with an effort to redraw congressional maps. Democrats are fighting. The largest super PAC backing House Democrats has created a new fund with more than $20 million to go after Texas lawmakers who are backing redistricting. The DNC is also ramping up efforts to fight it hard. Top Dems right here.
This egregious mid-decade gerrymander in Texas, part of an effort by Donald Trump and Republicans to undermine free and fair elections because they don't have anything positive to run on.
Trump. We're going to break in now. The president of the United States is exiting. He's been participating in the grand opening ceremony of his new Trump International Golf Links Aberdeen and then played some golf. But before that, of course, this has been a really big trip with announcements of an EU trade deal and so much more. And the focus now on Gaza by this president to say real starvation happening there and what kind of conversations are happening now between the one country headed by Trump reaching out to feed people there alongside our Middle East key ally, Israel. Netanyahu and Trump are watching that very closely today. But in the meantime, he's getting ready to leave. And you see his son, Donald Trump Jr., off his right shoulder, his girlfriend, Bettina Anderson, grandkids right behind Grandpa, the President of the United States. He has been on the ground in Scotland since Friday. So during these 4 days, I mentioned some of the news that's been made. He's also talked about the war between Russia and Ukraine. And just yesterday, he moved up the deadline on Russia to reach a ceasefire in that. Now we're 10 to 12 days away from that. They had a lot more time than that, and he is getting tough on Russia, too. So as he exits to come back home to the United States, we wanted to give you a view of the president heading back after big trade win and a whole lot of other news that I just outlined. All right. So I still have Senator Cornyn with me right now before we pull away from this, because the president is going to have a photo op and some other things before he heads off to Air Force One. Talk to me about where we are in politics worldwide right now with all of these trips. I mean, the one to the Middle East and now this, and every time he sets down, it seems, Senator, he's making a splash on the world stage.
Well, President Trump has had an amazing 6 months in office. It's been a whirlwind, and all of the prognostications by economists and others about recessions seem to have gone out the window as he's negotiated these very smart, balanced, reciprocal trade agreements with a lot of our trading partners around the world who've taken advantage of the United States for a long time. So President Trump has had a very successful time. He's negotiated a number of peace deals around the world. And the one sort of recalcitrant, the one who is unwilling to come to the table is Vladimir Putin. And it now appears that he is fed up waiting around for Vladimir Putin as he's playing games rather than negotiating a peace deal in Ukraine.
You know, I took a pause moments ago. The audience may have heard that. Sometimes you'll be able to hear him talk. There are reporters with microphones always nearby him. So we are watching as he traverses across the lawn here. Again, it's the Trump International Golf Links Aberdeen, where he had that grand opening. He played a couple of rounds of golf. He played there and another property or two that he owns in that country. It's an area that the family visits. They love it. So I just want to stay here until he boards Marine One, because, again, sometimes he'll turn and he'll talk. Let's listen for just a second. Senator Cornyn of the great state of Texas, I want to thank you for being with me today. Interrupted a little bit by breaking news, but I appreciate you being with me. And the president is off at this point. We'll be right back after this break.